A controversy over drunk driving arrests in DC. Flawed devices were used by police to measure blood alcohol levels, jeopardizing hundreds of DWI convictions. News 4 broke this story in February. Tonight, we know the extent of the problem, at least from the government's point of view. Of the 1,100 cases reviewed, more than 300 may have produced inaccurate results. News 4's Pat Collins joins us from the newsroom with more on the story. Pat?
Pat, the government says it involves about 300 cases, but some defense attorneys say it could be in the thousands. Here comes the controversy. DC police use a device called an intoxilizer to measure the alcohol level in suspected drunk drivers they stop in the streets of our city. As News 4 first reported earlier this year, a police audit showed those devices were flawed, and that problem dated back to October 2008. At Superior Court, hundreds of DWI convictions now in question. According to Attorney General Peter Nichols, these are the numbers. He said he reviewed 1,100 cases. More than 300 involved the flawed intoxilizers. 11 of those cases actually resulted in trials.
We have written to the lawyers, we have written to the court. We're now going to send individual letters to each of the defendants and say, okay, here's your file, what do you want to do?
Meet now David Benowitz. He's a well-known criminal defense attorney who handles hundreds of DWI cases each year. He says the problem is far worse than Nichols makes it out to be.
I equate it to the way their BP is handling the oil spill. I mean, they sort of come out and say, well, it's 5,000 barrels when it's actually 15,000 barrels. I mean, what Mr. Nichols said today just made no sense.
I don't know the basis for his thinking. As soon as we found out about the issue, we went back over all the files.
Benowitz says this controversy is not likely to be settled soon.
And I think there's going to be a lot of civil litigation over this because there's so many people who had their lives adversely affected by this. I mean, I think that there's probably going to be one or more class action suits.
Attention DWI defendants, even though your case might involve a flawed intoxilizer, you may not be off the hook. Attorney General Nichols says other factors like a field sobriety test and your behavior at the time of your arrest can be considered as evidence as these cases are reviewed in court. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks, Pat.